I'm definitely about to rustle some feathers. Sawadee tukon, je m'appelle Axel and I'm a French woman living in Bangkok, Thailand. Today we have a special video. It's a special a sort of concept. I'm gonna try to not cut a lot of it. I'm just gonna cut out the mistakes. So it's gonna be kind of podcast style, I guess. And today we're in my bed. Don't get any idea, you fucking perv. And I have this mic because I don't know why. But if the sound from this mic fucking sucks, I will use the sound from the mic on my camera. You know, we'll improvise, bestie. This is an experiment, okay? And today I'm on my second day of my period. My fucking stomach is hurting. So I feel like ranting. So today I want to talk about why I feel more and more difficulty, about calling myself a BL fan. And I'm gonna talk about my history with BL. I'm gonna talk about my feelings around BL, and how the more I stay in this fandom, the more I want to identify as a Thai dramas fan rather than a BL fan. Also today, little spoiler warning, I will be discussing some problematic shows or disappointing shows that have, for me, made me feel this way, okay? So I'm sorry, I'm gonna discuss a lot of popular shows, bestie. So you're probably gonna be offended. But you know, on this channel, I always discuss things openly. I don't mean to offend anyone, but it's just my fucking opinion, bestie. And, personally, I do think that I'm right. But you know, I also sometimes support like the right for people to be wrong, you know? So it's gonna be fine. You can be wrong on that. I will accept that I'm fucking right, as always. No, I'm kidding. So let's start from the beginning. My name is Axel. I'm 23. I have been in the BL fandom for 6 years now, literally this month. And so my like BL journey has been something. So I started watching BL on and off in 2017. After Sotus, I watched a bunch of shows. I've talked about it 500 times. Let's move on from that. But it's really in 2019 that I think I really became a part of the fandom, in the sense that I really started producing a lot of content on Tumblr, and that has led to me creating this channel a couple of years later. And so for me, it's also 2019 is a very important year because it's the year that a lot of my favorite shows aired, and I felt really like I belonged in this fandom, like I really fell in love with Thai dramas. And so for me, so at the time, there were like queer or BL shows like Theory of Love, True Will Be Free, Dark Blue Kiss, Great Man Academy, He's Coming to Me. These still are like super faves of mine, especially Theory of Love and True Will Be Free, like forever iconic shows in my eyes. And so for me, I really became attached to Thai dramas more than ever before, especially since in 2019, I also started watching non-BL Thai dramas. And that's when I watched Project S, which is like Project S Skater Souls and Project S Side by Side, like two of the best Thai dramas ever fucking made. These shows are my favorite. And I've watched The Gifted that I became obsessed with as well. And so that's when I started like also watching straight romances and a bunch of non-BL Thai dramas. And I was like, wait a minute, those are fucking fun too. But no one was watching them apart from me, except for like The Gifted that was very popular. But that was kind of it. And I think this is also the year I started listening to Thai music. I really got into Thai music. And at the end of 2019, it's the year I visited Thailand for the first time with my best friend. And I fell in love even more. And I was like, I need to do a gap year here. And here we go. I'm here. I've done my gap year here. We're 10 months in, baby. Like, you know, it happened, which is insane. And so when I started BL, I was already obsessed with gay content, and honestly, I feel like I should make a video about why a lot of straight girls like love gay content. Obviously I put straight girls because, spoiler alert, I'm not straight. I'm a bi queen bitch. And so, yeah, at the time I did think I was straight, and I was already questioning, like, why the fuck am I obsessed with gay media? And, spoiler alert, little fun fact, I was obsessed with gay characters, and then when I, encountered bisexual characters, I became even more obsessed, and I should have known. That's when I should have been like, ding, 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 you're bi, bitch, you're bi. Stop questioning. So, yeah, I was obsessed with gay media way before I fell in love with Klein from Glee in like 2015, when I was 15 actually. And then a couple years later, like Glee ended, I had a bunch of gay ships that I was stunning, and I saw a gift set on Tumblr about Sotos, fell in love, and started watching it. Another time, I think I was a lot more fetishizing. I actually have a video of me reacting to the old video that I made at 18, right after I started watching BL. So I would really recommend it because you can see my shift in perspective really well. And also I look completely different. It's like straight Axel and like queer Axel. It's iconic. But anyways, so I was just like, so honestly, I think I disregarded a lot of toxic shit in BL and in gay media, and I was just obsessed an unhealthy amount and pretty fetishizing sometimes, which I do feel bad for, obviously. And so, yeah, but was also, I think, this side. I remember really well how almost as soon as I entered the BL fandom, I was already aware of its shortcomings because, especially on Tumblr, this is woke plus, woke land plus, bestie. And so I was like, it was really like, there was already a lot of, accounts on there, like criticizing BL for its shortcomings. And I was aware of it. And it was really nice because I think I never was in a state where I was maybe young enough, naive enough, or too fetishizing for me to completely ignore the problem that BL had and BL still has. But the more I grow up and grow old now, I'm almost 24, besties, the more it becomes really hard to be like, yeah, there are these problems, but I can look the other way, or I can ignore them, or I can move past them. Now it becomes really difficult, and is the reason why I've become a lot more picky about the shows I choose to watch. But I also feel more protective of myself, of my time. I think I started watching BL, and I'll get back to that, but I started watching BL at a time where I had a lot of fucking free time. I was still in high school at the time, and then I entered university, and I had basically like very little classes. And I think I was also very depressed at the time. I was not well mentally at all. And so for me, my Tumblr blog, once it started gaining a little bit of traction, and also watching a bunch of fucking series, was my only distraction. And sometimes I think it's what kept me alive, So, sorry for getting too deep, but, yeah, it goes deep, bestie. Like, I owe, Thai dramas a lot. Obviously I'm here, so I owe them me being here, being the happiest I've been in literally a decade. But over that, I also, owe them a lot of my sanity, honestly, I think, today. So it is why I love Thai dramas so much. They've helped me through very difficult times. But, yeah, okay, let's do it chronologically, So after, in 2019, once I really got into BL, that year was fucking fire. But, at the end of the year, that's when Tharntype got released. And Tharntype for me was a turn in the BL fandom because until then there was a lot of problematic shit in BL. I never pretended otherwise. Even like a show that I adore, like Theory of Love, has forced kisses, which I fucking hate. And even in Love by Chance, there was there was a sexual assault victim that was being taken seriously, and then in another character, there was one being assaulted, which is Techno with Kengla, which was made into a joke and was so fucked up. So that was the year prior in 2018. And think I could look past that because at the time I just really fucking loved AP and I loved that show and their storyline was so good. And it really was for the time. AP were really revolutionary because it was a very simple love story. They were pretty much quite healthy. And also we had like a coming out, like a full coming out, gay coming out in the character of Pete, which had never been seen before. So it was an important show in its own respect. And I think, you know, it's fun because you see all of these huge shows at the time. Love by Chance was huge. Nowadays, like, people don't talk a lot about it and people kind of have moved past it. And sometimes it does hurt me a little bit. I'm like, oh, but it was such a trailblazer. But also I get that people move on. Not people, like people who watch Love by Chance today will be like, oh, I've seen 50 other shows like this. But for the time, it was really revolutionary, you know? So sometimes it does make me feel, sometimes I feel like a fucking boomer in this fandom. I'm like, oh, the kids these days, they don't know how to appreciate the older shows. I'm like, But I do try to stop myself and be a bit more reasonable and charitable to newer BL fans. But yeah, so even in 2018, I did have like sort of a problem with Love by Chance, and it's like kind of, representation of sexual assault. On one side, it was made as a joke, and on the other, we have like a sexual assault victim that is actually taken seriously. So it was a very weird fucking show for that aspect. But then the year after, we have Tharntype. So Tharntype, extremely popular show to this day, one of the, I think, top 10 most popular BL shows, definitely. Absolutely huge. And I remember, you know, I gave that show the benefit of the doubt. I think at this time I wasn't as wary as I am now, because I've been hurt so many times. I've been betrayed so many times by so many fucking BL shows now. I'm so suspicious, you know. But at the time I was still so new and I was like, oh, like it's fine. So people were saying that in the novel it was very fucking rapey, and I was like, listen, I'll watch the first episode. It still looks interesting. And yeah, in the first episode we have Tarn and molesting Type while he's drunk and asleep. So fucking fucked up in like a very awkward scene, and they put sexy music on it and I fucking hate it. And I just dropped the show, you know, and then I kind of watched it through other people. But it was interesting in that time on Tumblr. I don't know the fandom outside of it, but on Tumblr I remember that for the first like 5 episodes or something, most people were condemning this show and being like, yeah, it's so rapey, like the first episode was fucked up, like it's so horrible, blah blah blah. And then there was a turn in the fandom, like the general opinion completely switched after the like 4th or 5th episode, where everyone became a Tharntype stan. I think that's when the show started really exploding in popularity. So the haters like me started being flooded by the other fans that were louder. And so the public opinion became, this show is fucking incredible, the chemistry, wow, oh my god. And so yeah, I've watched some scenes of Tharntype. I do recognize the chemistry was really great. The acting was pretty good. But apart from that, I think the message of the show is just so messed up on so many levels. And for me, that's when I think I started kind of dissociating myself from the fandom. And I felt a bit betrayed in a way, because until then, I had liked every popular show. I had watched every show out there. And that was the first time I was like, oh my god, like, how can people turn a blind eye to it just because the couple is hot together? Like, that was essentially it, you know? And for me, it felt wrong, and for me, it still feels wrong, and I still hate that show. I've said before, like, if I can delete one show off of the fucking internet and off our collective minds, it would be Tharntype. I think this show did a lot of damage. It exploited so many communities and people, and I hate that show. I like literally despise it. And so for me, that was the first time I was like, oh, like disappointed in the fandom. So then we move on to 2020, and 2020 was a fucking whirlwind. That was when my like Tumblr blog was at its like top height in the beginning, because there was Together, Why Are You, and My Engineer all airing together, and the 3 shows were super popular. And my blog like grew so fucking much. I was gaining like 300 new subscribers to my blog every week. It was insane. So my blog grew a lot, and I was really present in the fandom. I mean, it was really nice. Those shows, they're not perfect, none of them, but they're pretty much not that problematic. I think Why Are You is way too overrated. But for the two other shows, I think they were really nice shows, actually. They were just nice. Like, they're not perfect at all, but they were nice. And so for me, 2020, after that, is when the explosion of BL occurs, right? Filipino BL starts to be a thing. So many BLs got released, whereas like in 2019, there was like what? 10 BL across every fucking Asian country released. Now we got, I don't even remember how many, but like something like 50 or something. And I remember I made this video called BL Fatigue, and I discussed this idea that I was starting to be tired of BL, and I was. And at the time, it wasn't really because of like the problematic stuff or anything. I was just tired of the consumption. So I made a video on that. I kind of got over that BL fatigue a little bit later. But I still made the video, and I still recommend you watch that video because I think it's very interesting, you know. And it gives my full thought, on the topic. But, yeah, I think I really started feeling tired, and for me, I think I never really recovered because, even right now, even though it feels less overwhelming than in 2020 because it was such a stark contrast between 2019, like 10 BL shows, and then 2020, about 50. It was a lot. But I don't think I've recovered, and I think it has led me now to be so much more picky. I'm very, very picky now. And, yeah, we're going to talk about it. But, now there's a lot of popular shows that everyone is watching. I am not watching them. And I got bullied for not watching them. So, we're going to talk about it. But, yeah, in 2020, it was a lot, bestie. It was a lot. But then in 2021, things slowed down a little, or I got used to it and became a bit more picky. But I still watch a lot in 2021. I watched almost 100 shows that year, which is insane. Anyways, and so yeah, not all BL, of course, but mostly BL. And so yeah, I think I was really fucking tired of BL. And I think in 2021, if I remember, there was no show that really like won my heart over. I had shows that I liked, definitely. And I'm sure if I rewatch my video ranking all the shows at the time, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I do love this show. But honestly, there's no show that left a lot of impact on me, except I think maybe, I think it was Cherry Magic and Life, Love on the Line. Those two shows are really, really good. Also 1,000 Stars was really nice. But that was kind of it. And even 1,000 Stars didn't hit the way that previous shows had hit, you know. Love this show, but like it doesn't take enough risk for me to be like an ultimate fave of mine. And ultimately, I do prefer a more flowed show, like Not Me, for example, that actually took so many more risks that for me it's like its importance is like so much more important. But I do like 1,000 Stars. Anyways, this is not me trashing 1,000 Stars. It's actually a show I do like, even though a lot of people say it's overrated. I don't really think so. I don't think it's the best show ever. So in that sense, maybe it's a little overrated actually. But yeah. Moving on to the end of 2021. So the end of 2021, by that time, I think I had gotten over my BL fatigue. So I was kind of over it. I was back inside the groove. And we all know that at the end of the year, it's always when the best shows are fucking released. Okay. Like from October to December, that's when the best shows are always released. And so, that's when Bad Buddy came. And that's warning, Bad Buddy slander. I actually literally yesterday, it was my friend's birthday, and one of our mutual friends, she also loves BL. She literally came to Thailand after watching Kinnporsche. She fell in love with BL. And so, we were at the dinner together, and, I was asking her, like, what's your favorite shows? And I was waiting for it. I was waiting for Bad Buddy because everyone loves Bad Buddy. Everyone loves that show. And I was like, so when she said it, she was like, oh, I love My School President, The Eclipse. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. And then she's like, and Bad Buddy. I'm like, yeah, I saw it coming, bestie. I did see it coming from fucking 10 kilometers away. So, here's my issue with Bad Buddy. I love that show. I thought it would be my favorite show ever. I thought it was like on the way to become one of my all-time favorite BLs that I would revisit like all the time and I would absolutely adore. And the first 6 episodes were that for me. They really were great. And I think were a lot of amazing acting, amazing chemistry, and the story was very, very impactful. Oh shit, the mic cut. I don't know when it cut, but let me start again. So for me, the first half of the show was really amazing. And then the second half feels completely written by a different writer. And it's really like 2 writers wrote the show and they didn't consult each other at all. Which doesn't really work, right? So for me, it's like, the biggest slap was the last episode. For me, it was a slap in the face. Like it honestly, I don't think I've ever been this disappointed with a show. And I'm telling you that when I have a full fucking video on how I Promised You the Moon almost ruined I Told Sunset About You, which is my favorite show ever. So I have been disappointed many times before, okay? And even though that happened, I was so disappointed by the ending. For me, it was a slap in the face. First of all, because when you set a plot for a story, you should at least resolve that plot. And the main fucking plot of Bad Buddy was that the parents hate each other and then prohibit their sons from dating each other or even just being friends. And at the end, the fight is not resolved. Who's that? Pat's dad in Bad Buddy hasn't like come clean and apologized for being a fucking toxic ass piece of shit. And I hated that people used the cultural aspect for defending the show, being like, it's just a different culture. Family is so important. Like, you don't go against your family. Yeah, we know, bestie. But just because something is cultural doesn't mean it's right. You know, in certain cultures, kids are being beaten up by their parents every fucking day. Is that right? Just because it's the culture? No, that doesn't make it right. Okay. So, and for me, I felt like it was a way of silencing the international fans of the show by being like, you're like white or you're a foreigner and you can talk on this issue. But the problem is you set up a fucking plot that you did not resolve. Like, you can resolve it and still like take into account the fact that yes, parents in Thailand are very controlling of their children. Children listen to their parents a lot more in Thailand than they do, for example, in France. As a French girl, I will attest to that. I agree to that. I have Thai friends that can attest to that, okay? But the problem is, like, you are not even able to solve your fucking plot. Like, you are Thai. The writers are Thai. The director is Thai. The actors are Thai. Everyone in this project is Thai. So they could have solved it in a way that is respectful or that is in conjunction with their culture. But even then, I don't think, because abuse and, here I'm talking about emotional abuse, because what their parents put Pat and Pran through is definitely emotional abuse. As much as you want to spin it, it is emotional abuse. Was never talked about, was never discussed, was never condemned, and I don't agree with that. And the fact that the show ends and frames them being like still hiding from their parents, like I think 5 or 6 years into the relationship, as a happy ending, for me it felt like a slap in the face, especially in the face of the LGBTQ plus community, I'm gonna be honest, because like we've seen so many queer couples having to hide. I know here they don't hide because they're queer, but they're still queer and they're hiding. So bestie, that's still the case, okay? So I just like hated this show. I watched it with one of my friends on Discord. We were laughing. I was laughing because if I didn't laugh, I would cry at how fucking shitty that ending was, okay? So, then I'm like, oh my god, Bad Buddy is like so fucking bad. Like, I can't believe people, surely people must think the same way. They must have loved the first 6 episodes and then be so disappointed by the second half. And then crickets. Everyone, Bad Buddy is the best BL ever. Oh my god, the best show ever. And I was like, like kung manwa. What the fucking hell? Because here's the thing. Until then, every popular show would be Together, Love by Chance, all the fucking, even Why Are You? Those were shows that even if I never necessarily agreed that they deserve to be the number one show of the moment. They were still really enjoyable shows that I enjoyed watching. They were shows I liked. So I understood why they were popular in that aspect, okay? And this was the first time that a really huge popular show wasn't something that I agreed with the popular opinion, was something where I was like, what the hell? Like, I felt completely like listening to people trying to defend this show. And you can try in the comments to defend this show. Literally everyone on this fucking goddamn green earth has tried to defend this show to me. This will not change my mind, okay? And people have tried to slander not me as retribution for me not liking Bad Buddy, and that's what's fucking hilarious because bestie. Listen, one thing about the Not Me fandom, there's no one who slanders our show more than us. So you can try speaking. I've heard it all about Not Me, okay? And it doesn't change the fact that it's the most important Thai drama ever released, bestie. So you can try. Anyways. So, yeah, I was just like, the amount of fights that I didn't want to be in. Like, I was just like, yeah, I don't like Bad Buddy. And they're like, why? Oh my God, why don't you like Bad Buddy? Oh my God. And literally yesterday was the first time that, like, I think it's because, first of all, it's my friend and it was face to face and she's a very reasonable person. And when I explained what she was, like, my point of view, she was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, yeah, I am. I am right. Thank you. Oh my God. Finally, someone like sees it. So for me, I think I really felt betrayed, especially since Not Me started airing as Bad Buddy was ending. And it kind of stole a bit of the attention from Not Me. Because obviously, there can only be like one extremely popular BL show at GMMTV a year. And so that's fucking spot was already taken by Bad Buddy when Not Me started airing. And I really felt like it was in the shadow of Bad Buddy. And obviously, I did not agree with that. I think in terms of teams, Not Me was always more important than fucking Bad Buddy. Okay, Bad Buddy had a really strong foundation. Again, love the first 6 episodes. But if you look at the overall story, we have like dumb conflicts between family that doesn't even get fucking resolved. And then we have fucking queer vigilantes taking down an evil politician, and that reflects actually the political situation in Thailand. What the fuck? And that uses real protesters, and that puts a fucking QR code for equal marriage in the fucking show. And that, girl, are you kidding me? That literally puts artists against fascism and things like that on the show. Bitch, this is why Not Me, like, you can try to slander Not Me as much as you want, bestie. You cannot take the power this show had away. You cannot take its influence. You cannot take how fucking insanely amazing this show was. And so for me, I was bitter. I'm gonna admit it. I think I've tried to keep face for so long and been like, no, I'm not bitter. I'm like a very healthy person. I am very reasonable. And I do think I'm reasonable, but I'm also a fucking human. And here's the thing. I'm ride or die for the people, things I love. Okay. So for me, for example, I love Of Jumpun. I'm bitter every day that he doesn't get more opportunities. And he's still very successful, very famous, very beloved, right? I still want more for him. And it was the same for Not Me. It was still very successful. Everyone who watched that show was like, it's an amazing show. Yet I still wanted more for that show. So I'm someone who has very high expectation, because when I love something, I'm like, everyone should be fucking crying over the same shit as me. They should be like crying, throwing up on the floor, because these people are amazing. And so for me, I'm a bitter fucking bitch when I see other fucking shows that are so much shittier, have more success. I am a bitter bitch, and I think it's okay to admit it. Sometimes it's okay to be bitter. And I was really bitter over Not Me. I think it deserved to be the number one BL ever, not even BL, the number one Thai drama ever. It deserved to like go viral as fuck. It didn't. Not surprised with the fucking amount of crazy corruption that like dealt with that show. A lot of silencing with that show. So I am not surprised, but I am still very disappointed. And so yeah, I was bitter, and I was like, this was the first time I felt really alienated from the BL fandom more than ever. Even with the tharntype stuff, there was still people who still were in their like right mindset, you know, and they still understood what I was saying and agreed with me. But here I really felt like it was me against the world, and everyone was like, man, Bad Buddy is the best beer. I was like, no, it's not. Like, literally, you cannot go a series that cannot resolve its fucking basic ass plot. The best show ever. Like, you cannot. Like, that's literally the bare minimum. You create a plot, you should solve it, bestie. That's just how it works, bestie. So I just can't. And then Not Me happened. It was a really great fandom experience. I would receive, I think at some point I was answering about like 50 asks. So ask is like on Tumblr, people can send you anonymous or not anonymous messages, and you answer them publicly. And so there was a lot of discourse about Not Me in my ask. And I think at some point I was receiving like 30, 40 asks every fucking day about Not Me. It was insane. I was really like involved in Not Me. And it was for me, it was the most vivid fandom experience, and it was incredible. But then it ended. And honestly, the day it ended, I just cried the whole day. And I don't cry easily. I cry like 10 times a year. And, I cried like so much in front of Not Me. I think I've cried enough for the next 10 years of my life, to be honest. But, when it ended, it felt like a big, emptiness. And honestly, it took 6 months for me to truly get over it. And even today, still to this day, if I think too much about Not Me, I will start to feel like I need to cry. And I'm like, right now, I'm like, I love this show so much. Like, how can I move on from a show that is so different from anything else I've ever watched, that was so impactful, emotionally, and in terms of like, visuals as well, like everything. I can never move on. Not Me is my show. But anyways, enough about Not Me. I'm making it about Not Me again. I'm sorry, but Not Me is just too good. I can't ignore it. And so after that, I think a month after Not Me stopped, kinnporsche started. And so kinnporsche, it was a show I was excited for. I had planned on watching. I had watched, not the latest trailer, but the pre-trailers before all the drama that they have to change, like company or whatever. And then it started airing, and I could not bring myself to even watch the trailers. I could not bring myself to even care, because even though kinnporsche and Not Me are not the same show at all, I don't think they are that similar. They are darker shows, more mature shows. They are about like criminal activities. Okay. So obviously these two shows, I already knew they were gonna get compared. Okay. I wasn't fucking dumb. And I hated the hype. And honestly, I get why kinnporsche was hyped up. Okay. I think the whole constellation thing only served to create more hype around that show. And, because everyone loves an underdog, you know, and it was already insanely popular before, but I think with the constellation and the fact that then they announced, it's still happening, people were like, oh my God, like we've waited so long for this show. They were so hyped up. And the trailers that I watched for kinnporsche, I didn't watch all of them, but they were fucking amazingly shot. Okay. So I, really have nothing to say against kinnporsche marketing. The marketing for that show was insanely good. I think it's honestly the best marketing I've ever seen. And it was very simple because this show was so different and the visuals were so striking. I think everyone and their mother like had already heard about that show and also were interested in watching it. Then it aired and I couldn't. I was depressed. I was in Not Me depression. I really was. And it took a while, for me to get over it. And also I was organizing my coming to Thailand here. So I was, it was only 2 months before I left. So I was doing my visa demand and everything, all of that shit. So it was a lot. And then as the show progressed and it got more and more popular, I could not escape. And literally almost every day at some point, I would get a message. Are you watching kinnporsche? Are you watching kinnporsche? Are you watching kinnporsche? And you know, I don't mind people, but it's really funny because, on my YouTube, I get why people would be confused because they can't really check it as easily. On my Tumblr, I literally have a My Drama List account linked and you can see the shows I'm currently watching. You can see. And so it became a lot for me that I was already a bit bitter that this show was getting the success that I wanted for Not Me. And again, this is not the fault of the show. This is not the fault of the fandom. This is just me describing my feelings that has led me to again feeling alienated from the fandom. And so because I was a bitter bitch, and also in Not Me Depression because it had ended, and fun fact, I had to wait like a full year to rewatch Not Me because it impacted me so much that I had to wait a full year before I could bring myself to rewatch it, because I knew I would be crying. And spoiler, I cried again. I cried so fucking much even during the fucking rewatch, okay? I knew these scenes by heart, yet I was crying like a little baby, okay? And so I don't think I have anything against kinnporsche. I mean, no, okay. And so for me, I was just like, I don't want to watch this show now. I can't bring myself to do it, you know? So I was like, I'll binge it one day, once I feel like it, you know? And it's okay. I didn't watch Triage, for example, while it was airing. And this was not because I didn't like, I wasn't sure I would like it. And then I heard a lot of good reviews about it. So I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And I really liked it. I really liked that show. That was a really nice show. Might have liked it more than Manner of Death. I don't know. So I go in between those shows. I would say they are pretty much the same for me in my heart. They're not the best ever, but I did really like them. So for me, then, all of this shit comes out about kinnporsche, that like there was some sexual assault going in the cast. Now I've heard that one of the actors is a fucking abuser. And, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna support a show like that. It was the same for Two Moons too. I was so attached to the original Two Moons that I didn't want to watch it. And then like a couple years later, I was like, you know what? I want to watch it because it was a lot of people's like favorite BL, you know? So I was like, I want to watch it. And then right as I was about to watch it, I hear about the sexual assault shit that happened, and I can't watch a show knowing that one of the actors got sexually assaulted because of that show. You know, for me, it doesn't feel right. But everyone defines what they want to do, you know, so I'm not blaming if you watched it even after knowing the whole story. But for me, that was my mindset. And for me, it became really annoying once it was kind of clear that I was never going to watch kinnporsche, to have all of these messages. And actually there was this fun message on my channel, when I did the Q&A. One person asked me if I was going to the kinnporsche concert. And actually one of my followers responded for me and was like, haven't you been following? She said 10 times that she's not watching the show. And so for me, I laughed, and I don't blame the person who asked the question about the concert at all. And I just laughed because I was like, oh my God, even now my followers are getting mad about it for me. Like, they're getting tired of me being asked this question every fucking day of my life. And I felt a bit, not threatened because that's too much, but I felt a bit judged for not watching the most, popular and the most like current BL show, right? Because I think I talked about it in my BL fatigue video, that something that is very unique to the BL fandom is that we kind of feel like we need to watch every BL show out there. And that's a fandom thing. That's like the culture in the fandom. And it was okay when it was only 10, 15 shows released a year. But since 2020 and the explosion of BL, it's just not possible anymore, you know? Unless you want to watch a lot of fucking bullshit, because a lot of those shows, there's more shows being produced, but the quality doesn't always go up, okay? So, I think me being kind of harassed by people about this show, it made me want to watch the show even less, you know? And it was the same, I'm kind of skipping a few months ahead, but, it was the same also in the end of 2022 with Between Us. So Between Us, actually, I didn't like Until We Meet Again. I've said it before, it's one of my most controversial opinions. That and Bad Buddy, I know these are the two shows that people are so mad about me not liking. Until We Meet Again was fine. It was just not, I never loved it the way that a lot of people love it and consider it the best BL ever. I could never get behind that. But yeah, I really like Team Win, but it's been over 3 years and then they released Between Us. And honestly, I was never a Boon Prem like fan or anything. I not a very big Wabi Sabi, like Studio Wabi Sabi fan either. So for me, I just didn't watch it. I didn't want to watch it. I was tired. I was like, I moved on from these characters. Like, if I could revive characters from 2019, it would not be Team Win. You know, it would be other characters that I love more. So for me, I just didn't watch it. And I didn't really talk about it. And I remember one time, like, I was talking, to this person so a lot of people from my blog, like, come to talk to me and they're like, what do you think about this drama? What do you think about this one? And in the same sentence, I was like, I didn't watch Between Us, I didn't watch Kinnporsche, and they were like, what? Oh my god! Like, you're literally, it's like I'm missing like something in my life. And I was like, yeah, you know, it's fine. It's okay to miss some things. You know, I can't watch everything. Especially since I've been here, I've been so busy, which is why I haven't uploaded videos that much, which I feel really bad about, because I do want to, I love this channel, you know, it's my baby, so I do want to put out content for it. But yeah, for me it's just like has been difficult because I've been enjoying my life so much. I don't really have time to think about videos, and I also hate editing videos. Like, I hate editing videos. It's the fucking bane of my existence. I despise it. I hate it. It takes forever. It takes me so long because I hate it so much. And so honestly, I was just like over it, you know, when this person was like, shaming me for not watching Kinnporsche and Between Us, and she was not the only person. There were many others, especially for Kinnporsche. Between Us, it was a bit better. But, and I was like, you know, I'm kind of done with this culture of watching everything. I've been done with it, honestly, since 2021, but especially now that I'm getting shamed and harassed every day. And I think it's why I think I've really withdrawn myself from the BL fandom in the last couple years, especially on Tumblr. I'm very like, I'm in my own bubble. Anyone that wants to send me an ask or send me a private message can do so, and I've made friends that way. But I don't go after people, and I don't go after shows that I don't want to watch or that I don't feel like watching right now. And it's fine. It's okay, you know. And honestly, I've gained a lot of peace of mind about that. But it has made me feel alienated from the fandom. And I think lastly, another element is the shows like Big Dragon that definitely romanticize sexual assault. I've watched the first episode because I was curious to see how they would spin it. And it was exactly like tharntype, in which the sexual assault is so fucking irrelevant, and it could have not existed, and still like the show could have happened almost the same entire way. But it's added for spice. It's added to be like, ooh, look, wow, like there's something spicy about this show. In tharntype, for example, after the 2 sexual assaults that Type endures, he's the one to like be like, okay, let's have sex. He was consenting. So in that sense, why have fucking sexual assaults in the first place? It's for nefarious reasons. And it's the same with Big Dragon. After the first like non-consensual like sex scene, everything else has been consented to. So again, it was really infuriating. And the fact that, again, the same shit repeated. This ship is now very famous. The show was very beloved. And I think, be it with sexual assault or non-sexual assault, I'm very uncomfortable with shows that have a lot of sex scenes, because most of the time they don't really serve the plot. Most of the time there's only 1 or 2 sex scenes that will actually serve the plot. And most of the time it's the first time of a couple. It's meant to show their intimacy. They're finally like breaking down the last barrier behind them or whatever. For example, I've said it before, the Shaun White, Not Me sex scenes, is incredible. It's like so beautiful shot and so meaningful. And it's not just like sex, and it's not fetishize that, oh, you don't feel like you're gawking at them and you're like, oh, well, so hot. It's not hot. It's beautiful. And I think there are other scenes, for example, the Sci-Fi Zone, sex scene in Why Are You as well, which is their only like sex scene, is very beautiful because again, it's them finally like completely breaking down the barriers behind them and becoming a couple and trusting each other and loving each other, you know? And so it was really beautiful. And I think you can do sex scenes beautifully. I gave, Bad Friend a try recently because I was like, let's give it a try, you know? I'm very open-minded, even though I don't like shows that overly rely on sex, because I feel like it's the gateway to, like, bring a lot of fetishization in the show, by fans. And so for me, I watched the show and I was like, actually the sex scenes are kind of nice. Like, yes, there's a lot of sex scenes, but obviously that's the whole purpose of the show. Like, the whole show is about, like being sexual but not intimate with your heart, you know, and that's the problem. So I understand that there would be a lot of sex scenes, and I think they were handled very well, but I actually quit watching the show for other reasons. I think they made Ea to be like way too pathetic, and that's not an insult to Ea, but like I feel like they're really just hammering in on that he's like this little poor pathetic character that just nothing goes right in his life. He's been like assaulted and he's been abused by everyone in his life, and for me it's like too much of like misery porn for me, and too much of an excuse for King to rescue him and be his savior. And so that's why I stopped watching Bad Friends. But actually I thought they handled the sex really well. But I think in most other shows where it's like so many sex scenes, Don't Say No was one of it. Tharntype was popular because of the sex scenes. Even back in the day, Together With Me became so popular because it was way more explicit than the BL shows at the time. Even Love Violence was really popular because AP have a lot of sex scenes as well. And I think at some point it becomes really more about fetishizing and exploiting those seemingly queer relationships. Obviously it's not a commentary on whether or not the actors are queer or not, but the characters are, and for me I just can't. It feels too much, and I'm realizing that my taste and the taste of the fandom gets more and more like separated and different every day, and that is why I don't relate to the fandom anymore. I don't feel like I can even share my ideas completely in the fandom anymore, because I feel like we have completely opposite ideas. And I think it really started with Bad Buddy, but it really continues with shows like Big Dragon being super popular. And now there's also Love Syndrome that I know, like, I don't know if it's popular or not. Again, not following that show at all, but I know it's very sexual as well. It's apparently there's some sexual assault thing in it. So in general, I feel so withdrawn from the BL fandom, but I still like BL. So I still am like technically a BL fan. I'm still watching BL. I still like BL. There are a lot of BL shows that I enjoy watching. Recently, I loved My School President. I think it was a huge like surprise for everyone. And I think it was just such a nice fucking show. And for me, it's become one of my comfort shows. Like I think about it a lot. I'm like, oh my God, it's like Lovesick to me. Like this and Lovesick, both shows are very similar. It feels like the more updated Lovesick version. And I love it because Lovesick has always been one of my most beloved comfort shows. So here we are at a point where I'm like, I feel really withdrawn emotionally from the BL fandom. I feel like I don't even want to call myself a BL fan, and especially since I've had the occasion to meet fellow BL fans in real life, actually for the first time ever, because back in Paris no one watched Thai dramas, no one I knew, and so it's been really nice. Like, we've seen the same shows. We can discuss, like, the actors or whatever. And even then, I feel still so withdrawn. When we talk about BL with these people in my real life who are my friends, I feel so withdrawn from them because I'm like, oh my God, like, you like Tharntype, or you like Kinnporsche, or you like these shows, or you love Bad Buddy, for example. And I don't relate to that. I don't, you know, and it's fine to have different opinions, but when you feel that way with literally almost every single person in the fandom, it does make me feel alienated. It does make me feel like I don't belong, and it does make me feel like I don't want to belong. So yeah, that's kind of why I don't really like BL anymore in that way. Like, I still watch it. I still like, I don't like BL, but I like BL shows. So I like specific BL shows that touch me and that touch my heart, and that they don't even have to touch my heart. Sometimes it's just pure fun. Sometimes it's pure entertainment, you know. My Secret Love wasn't like, it didn't touch my heart. It was just a fun show. What was that show that I fucking loved? I Will Knock You really surprised me. It didn't like touch me. I wasn't crying in front of it, but I was just smiling. I was like, wow, this show is so fucking nice. I love it. I love how camp it is. I love how like over the top yet still so touching it is. And that's what I mean. I like individual BL shows. I don't think I truly identify as a BL fan anymore. I don't think, I feel like I'm a Thai drama fan. And I think part of it is that I'm so bitter. I'm so mad that Thai dramas are so overlooked, are so disregarded just because they're not BL. And it's very frustrating because there has been so many straight Thai dramas that I know for a fact if they were Korean or American and on Netflix or something, they would be so goddamn popular. I think especially The Revenge. The Revenge as a Korean show, absolutely incredibly popular, without a doubt. But then no one has seen this show. I've been screaming about it for about a year now. It was my second favorite show after Not Me of 2022. Yet no one has seen this show. No one cares for this show. It was kind of popular in Thailand. Thank God it did win some awards, which is nice. I'm glad it did get like some critical reception, like some positive critical reception, and got awards from it. But in general, it's been very annoying for me to discover my fave show ever and not be able to share that joy with anyone else, because people do not even give non-BL Thai dramas a chance. And it's very frustrating to me. It's very frustrating because half of my favorite Thai dramas are not BL, but no one has watched them. No one cares for them. No one gives a fucking shit. And the only shows that have even a chance to be popular are all shows that have like those queer undertones. So if we think about Project S Side by Side, that was okay popular, not too popular, but in time very popular. But towards Interfan, like some people watched it because there is a kiss between those the cousins in the show. Okay, it's not a romantic kiss, but people made edits about it to make it look romantic. This is also why I watched the show at the time, by the way. This was my first non-BL Thai drama that I watched, and I watched it because I thought it was BL, because at the time, as again, I was very fetishizing, very obsessed with gay couples. And then I was like, shit, it was not BL, but it was still such a beautiful show. And I had this click in my mind that was like, why am I only focused on queer content, you know? And especially today, there's so much queer content now in Thailand, which is great. And not advocating for less queer content, believe me, but I'm advocating for judging shows individually instead of being like, oh, like what frustrates me is that a fucking shitty ass BL like Checkout has like probably 10 times the viewership that The Revenge had, for example. The Revenge that actually got critically acclaimed, won awards, and that is an amazing show, especially for Thailand. They didn't really get that budget before to make such a good show, okay? But they got the funds, they got the great cast, they got everything for the show. No one's watched it. No Interfan watched it. And it pisses me off to know that Checkout, which is fucking 100 times like more shittier than that show, still has at least 10 times its viewership. And got at least like so much more attention than it, you know? Editing Axel here, I forgot to say something that I wanted to add, is that this favoritism for BL is not just on the part of fans anymore. It also comes from the production companies, the directors, the writers. So, whereas before BL was seen as like a subgenre, it was something that like, it's not very serious, it doesn't have a lot of good acting, it's just for fangirls. We all know how things that teenage girls or even just women like, majoritarily, are always seen as less good. This is why boy bands, K-pop, things like that, they're like, it's for teenage girls, so it's not good. And until a couple years ago, I think until Together, where Together took two actors that did not have a big fan base at all. In the case of Win Metawin, it was his first role ever, and catapulted them to being the two biggest Thai actors ever, to having, they are on, let me tell you, I live in Bangkok, they are on every fucking ad in this country, they are everywhere. And so, I think that's when people and a brand and production companies and, ad companies started realizing, shit, BL is legit. BL really does sell. And no matter who it sells to, it sells enough for us to care. Now we care about it. And now companies have become very biased. Now they will favor BL content over everything else. I think we can see that with the Midnight series. The Midnight series, for which Midnight Motel got 6 episodes, Dirty Laundry got 6 episodes, and Moonlight Chicken, the one BL show that honestly, compared to the 2 others that kind of feel similar in vibe, has a completely different vibe, got 8 episodes. What's the worst show of the 3? Like the literally subjectively saying the worst show out of the 3? It's Moonlight Chicken, bitch. Midnight Motel was way better than Moonlight Chicken in every way. It's tightly produced and it has an amazing story. It has really great teams, an amazing acting, especially from Montano Chai. And even Dirty Laundry, which is not a groundbreaking show in my opinion at all, is a show still that really did what it was set out to do. Moonlight Chicken, I'm sorry, but when your main ship is so fucking boring, no one cares about them. And I thought I was just being a hater. But globally, the opinion is that Jim and One are a fucking shitty ship that no one cares about. People were snoring. Even a lot of Earth Mix fans were snoring at their ship and were looking for Heart Liming or for the rest of the plot. I thought Moonlight Chicken and its plot about family and like being poor and trying to survive, and Jim and his trauma concerning relationships was very interesting. But the main character should have been Liming, in my opinion, without a doubt, because girl, Jim and One, oh my god, so fucking boring. Like they weren't bad. They just brought no flavor. They were boring. They were boring in a way that I haven't seen like BL couple be since like maybe 2019, 2020. Like it was really, I've never seen that before. Like, wow. So anyways, all of that to say that we can now see that BL is given more episodes, more budget, more everything, because it is more successful than non-BL. So what fans want and what production companies want are aligned, but it is favoritism, and it silences great stories. Now, I don't want to say that much about GMMTV because GMMTV is one of the only production companies that does not only produce BL, but it produces a variety of shows, and it produces shows that takes a lot of risk. I mean, it has produced now a sci-fi weird kind of show like UMG that I don't see being successful anytime soon in any beat in Thailand or from international fans, yet they did it still, you know, so that is taking a risk. And so for me, it's extra frustrating to see that now it's not only the BL fans that are very, like, I feel like I'm shouting into a void and I'm telling you, this show is the best show ever. The Revenge, P.S. I Hate You. The Gifted now benefits from the fact that people will watch it because a lot of the cast have acted in BLs. A lot of the cast are very famous, you know. And I think The Gifted was popular back in the day as well. For that reason still. But apart from that, shows that don't have necessarily BL actors, that even if they're playing it straight, do not get the light of day at all, you know. And the companies are now leaning into it. And now that's where I have an even bigger issue. So I wanted to mention this problem because I hate feeling like a show has to be BL for it to even get the recognition it deserves. And even then, a lot of BL shows that are really great don't get the recognition they deserve. So anyways, the BL fandom is dumb and I'm very frustrated because you all have no fucking taste. That's all I gotta say. Bye! So for me, it has been very frustrating, and these are my full feelings. I still like BL in general. I still watch BL shows. I still, I don't like the toxicity in the fandom. I don't like the dramas that come every fucking day. I feel like I don't like the fact that I get shamed for not watching some popular shows. I don't like the expectation that you should be watching every show that comes out anyways. I don't like that shows that have very messed up topics like sexual assault or like toxic relationships, but feature a lot of sex scenes are completely blown out and become super popular, and people disregard the fucked up parts completely because it is sexual, and you can fetishize the characters, and you can honestly exploit men loving men relationships. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I hate it, and I've chosen to protect my peace and only choose very carefully the shows I watch. And honestly, my peace has been protected, but it doesn't mean that I don't have these negative feelings towards the BL fandom sometimes. And this is why I wanted to make this video. It doesn't have an answer. It's not like, and everything finishes well, you know, like we say in French, tout est bien qui finit bien. There's none of that here, okay? It's just my feelings right now. They might evolve, they might not. I don't think they will, because my feelings have these thoughts are a continuation of my BL fatigue video that I made 2 years ago, you know? So for me, I think it's really, everything is a continuation of my experiences in the BL fandom, and I've had very great experiences, and I've loved my time in the BL fandom for the most part, except when bitches tried to cancel me for no fucking reason, but that was another topic. That was a Tumblr drama. Maybe one day I'll make a video on that, because that was insane. But anyways, that's another topic for another day. But overall, I wish people were more open-minded. Yeah, I wish they were, because I wish you would judge shows on their individual basis and be like, oh, the story looks good, or the cast looks good, and not be like, okay, it's gay, but it has a lot of sex, so let me watch it and let me stan it. For me, I don't agree with that. And this is why today, like, I don't really know all the BS shows going on. And even if I do know, I don't know all the ships going on. I don't know what's popular, what's not. I don't care anymore. I watch the shows that I like with the people that I like. For me, a good cast has become such a great incentive. And honestly, a lot of shows, like BL shows, I choose them now because just I love the cast. This is why right now I'm watching Passenger with Mark Pahan and Cooper Patpasit, which is an arguably very terrible show, but I do like it. They have chemistry. Weirdly, they made it worse. I hated them in the first episode, and since then, Mark's heart eyes are good. They've been good since My Gear and Your Gown. Poor guy can, like, always ends up in shitty ass shows, and I feel really bad for him. But at least, you know, he does good heart eyes. So, you know, I think I hold on to the shows that I love, you know. That's what I want to remember, and that's why I think I remember forever from the BL fandom. Even if I stop liking BL, even if I stop watching Thai shows tomorrow, in 10, 20 years, I'll still remember Theory of Love. I'll still remember Not Me. I'll still remember I Told Sunset About You. I'll still remember Project Escator Souls. I'll still remember The Gifted. I'll still remember The Revenge and many others. All these shows that I loved, that made me live through their TV shows. And, I think it's okay that I don't really identify with being a BL fan anymore. I don't really vibe with the BL fandom anymore. I think it's fine. And, I would really love to know, like, your own opinion, your own journey with the BL fandom, because I think it would be interesting to compare our different journeys. But in general, I don't regret being a BL fan. That's literally why I'm here today. And I don't regret my time in the BL fandom, even with the fucking dumbass dramas I've had to deal with before. And I'm very glad that I'm putting myself first now, that I'm putting my peace first, and that I'm not letting a need for me to give certain shows on Tumblr to win more subscribers over, or talk about certain shows because I know they're popular and they're gonna, like, a lot of people are gonna, like, watch my videos or whatever. But I follow my heart, and I love that for myself, bestie. I love being an honest fucking bitch. Like, that's how it is here. So yes, that was it for this video. I talked way too much. It's been an hour. Okay, I'll go now. Tell me all of your thoughts down below. Don't you even try to slander Not Me Bitch. No one can slander a show that already has been slandered unfairly so many fucking times by its own fandom. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll leave you now. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was very chaotic and I criticized a lot of very beloved shows. Sorry about that. Not sorry about that. And have a great day.